Social media influencer Liver King is behind bars tonight after allegedly threatening podcast host Joe Rogan.
Social media influencer has been arrested after police say he made threats against Joe Rogan.
I'm good to myself to express my highest and most dominant form, like as a man.
85% of people struggle with self-esteem issues. People have cancer. 4,000 people a day commit suicide. And you know what's crazy? There's a 20x multiplier on attempts. Almost 100,000 people, 100,000 people a day attempt suicide, right? They have no hope. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. Their life is hurting that much that they want to end their lives.
Right from the start, it was clear Liver King wasn't just a guy trying to get fit. This was a character Brian Johnson built and sold to the world. And once you create something that big, you either control it or it controls you.
I know what I did was wrong. I lied about it. I feel like I've let an entire generation down. Part of the reason why I feel so horrific about it is I know what it feels like to be 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 with zero self-worth. Completely embarrassed and humiliated of the brain and body that I have.
Around 2021, the world met Liver King, a larger-than-life, shirtless, primal warrior who looked like he'd been carved out of granite and dipped in protein powder. The entire aesthetic was designed to shock you into paying attention. His strategy was simple: do the most outrageous, caveman-coded thing possible on camera and do it with total seriousness. So he ate raw liver, raw testicles, bone marrow, anything that made people say, there's no way this guy is real.
What up, primals? Liver King here. We just took down a Mongolian yak. And where do you think we're gonna start? Of course, the liver first, because liver is king. More!
But the real glue that held the Liver King myth together wasn't just the stunts. It was the philosophy behind them, the so-called 9 ancestral tenets.
I'll say all 9 ancestral tenets affect how we look, feel, and function. All of them affect our hormone profile. If you sleep like shit a couple days in a row, you're gonna tank your testosterone. If you move like shit a couple days in a row, you're gonna tank your testosterone. If you eat like shit, all of these things. If you don't get sun, you're going to tank your testosterone and your neuro.
These were Brian's secret sauce. He mixed universally agreed upon health advice like sleep, movement, and eating whole foods with bizarre fringe ideas like electromagnetic field avoidance, compulsive sun exposure, and raw organ therapy. And somehow, he packaged it all like ancient wisdom lost to modern society.
Immediately go eat liver, go lift heavy shit, learn the barbarian, train the barbarian, become the barbarian, and then you're gonna realize your physique is the least impressive thing about you.
It created an illusion that his insane physique was simply the result of living closer to nature and eating raw meat.
Here's the thing. I believe the stronger the animal, the more strength you're going to derive from the nourishment. So I don't have a whole lot of chicken organs, right? I like a fucking bull. I like an elk. I like a moose. I like big fucking strong animals.
In just 18 months, Liver King gained 3 million Instagram followers, which resulted in the launch of his company, Ancestral Supplements. The idea was simple. If you couldn't stomach raw organs like he could, you could just take them in pill form. And because he claimed his own physique came from this lifestyle, the supplements became the shortcut for people wanting similar results. By 2021, his company was reportedly pulling in around $100 million a year. Let that sink in. A $100 million business built by a guy who chewed raw testicles to go viral. To cement the myth even further, Liver King went mainstream. He appeared on the podcasts of Logan Paul, H3, Bert Kreischer, each time doubling down on the primal message.
I live in such a primal bubble. I tell them, listen, I don't know shit about what's going on in the world. If there's a hurricane coming, I don't know about it.
Millions of people heard him talk about the ancestral lifestyle, and each interview became free advertising. The hosts were fascinated, the audience was entertained, and Liver King walked away with even more credibility. And for a while, people trusted him. They believed the physique was real, the lifestyle was real, and the results were real as well. At least, that's how it looked from the outside.
It's like if somebody has, let's say, 700, testosterone, free testosterone, and if they're taking steroids and they want to get up to 1,400 or 1,500 or whatever it is, guess what? You can do the same thing with the 9 ancestral tenets. And if you do the 9 ancestral tenets and you're living this way over this amount of decades, you're going to be able to produce your highest and most dominant form.
The craziest part about the Liver King saga is how simple the core lie actually was. Over and over again, Brian Johnson looked straight into cameras and revealed he has never taken steroids. His body is 100% natural, and all of this comes from living the 9 ancestral tenets. But here's the problem. Science doesn't lie, even if influencers do. Anyone who understood human physiology could tell that a man in his mid-40s does not maintain that level of fitness naturally, especially while filming non-stop, traveling, and doing intense public stunts every week.
There's no way you can look like that in your 40s. He's preposterously jacked.
So the first real warning came from Joe Rogan, and suddenly the conversation changed. People started squinting a little harder at the Liver King's veins, his paper-thin skin, his constant pump that looked impossible for a man who only trained like a barbarian.
How much fat would you even be talking about? And how would that make... The thing is the topographical map of his abs, the way they pop up like mountains. That's just mass.
Yeah.
That's where the question of whether or not that's real or whether or not they're in.
Liver King, of course, fought back aggressively. His entire response strategy was simply to overwhelm people with confidence until the doubt faded.
The question has always been, do you take steroids? Do you take PEDs? The answer to that is no. I've always told the truth. I still tell the truth.
But then came the moment that exposed him completely. On November 28, 2022, Derek from More Plates, More Dates dropped a 1-hour video on his channel. In that video were the receipts no one expected to ever see. Internal emails, blood work, medical documents, and detailed drug protocols written by Johnson himself. The emails showed that Johnson was planning marketing campaigns, video ideas, and supplement funnels while simultaneously planning drug cycles and blood tests. His physique was an operational expense for a brand that was rapidly approaching $100 million a year. And once these emails were out, there was no going back.
The millions who follow him and the millions that will follow him in the future, that it is better to not just keep them in the dark about his drug use, but to also lie about it when questioned. If he was natural with a less impressive physique, he would likely not be as viral as he is on social media. If he openly talked about his hormone use, it would likely make people question just how impactful the 9 ancestral tenets really are relative to the drugs he's taking, and he would convert less viewers into believers and paying customers.
When the truth finally exploded across the internet, Liver King did what almost every modern influencer does when they get caught.
Primal, I'm making this video to apologize. Because I fucked up. Because I'm embarrassed and ashamed. Because I lied. And I misled a lot of people.
His confession video dropped within days of the leak, and on the surface, it looked like a moment of humility. But if you watched closely, it was not accidental.
I fully own that I fucked up. I am as sorry as a man can be. And all I can do is take extreme ownership right now, be better, and lead myself to a better life as a better human. Again, thank you to everyone for the support, the criticism, the love, the hate, and above all else.
For a split second, people thought he was feeling guilty, but the more he talked, the more obvious it became that the apology wasn't crafted for honesty, it was crafted for damage control.
Yes, I've done steroids, and yes, I am on steroids, monitored and managed by a trained hormone clinician.
Of course, social media wasn't the only place where the fallout landed. Within weeks, the lawsuits started rolling in. A major consumer class action suit demanded $25 million in damages, accusing him of building an entire business through deceptive marketing. And honestly, the plaintiffs had a point, because without the lie, there was no empire. Without the natty claim, there was no mystique. Without the mystique, there was no Liver King.
Come on, how could you not tell? You're gonna do a lawsuit because, you couldn't tell that guy's a phony? You couldn't tell that? You couldn't tell that was steroids? But yeah, you're right. A ton of people couldn't tell. And so if you lie, there are legal consequences, and this is one of them.
Once the lies of Liver King were exposed and the apology stopped working, things started to change for him. The well-oiled ancestral warrior character started glitching. The confidence was still there, but now it all felt off. What used to come across as calculated branding now looked like a man scrambling to hold on to relevance by any means necessary.
Last Thanksgiving I was dying, well, over-exaggerating, but a CT scan said something that was dire straits, and Ben Greenfield helped me. He gave me this recipe, kind of changed my life. Thank you, Ben Greenfield. That's what I'm doing right now. This is like the 4th one that I'm doing, and that's how I'm doing it.
And folks noticed this change. People weren't calling him a fraud anymore. They were calling him a laughingstock. But behind the jokes was the growing concern that his behavior wasn't just for fun. He might be suffering from a genuine mental health problem.
Yes, I've seen everything that's been happening with the Liver King recently. This is someone that I've talked about over the years, and recently it's pretty clear something has happened to his mental.
And then, of course, Netflix jumped in. The streaming giant seized the moment with Untold, the Liver King, turning the controversy into an exclusive documentary.
Liver is king!
And just like every disgraced public figure who discovers that shame can be monetized, Liver King jumped in. He treated the documentary like another opportunity to turn the scandal into a brand extension. But the real sign that things had gone off the rails came out when Liver King posted this.
Joe Rogan, we don't have to make videos to pretend anymore. All of this is happening. We're coming to you. I've challenged you man to man to a fight.
At first, it was just Liver King challenging Joe Rogan to a fight, saying it would be man-to-man bout if Joe accepted his challenge. But the subtext wasn't playful at all. This was about validation, about revenge, about proving himself to the one man who publicly exposed him from the beginning. Liver King traveled to Austin with his family and posted videos of himself holding golden guns. His obsession was turning into threats. And Joe Rogan took it seriously enough to alert the police. Because Liver King wasn't doing this for content anymore. He was slipping deeper into a delusional narrative where every public figure who doubted him became an enemy he had to confront in real life. And then came the breaking point. Videos showed him being taken into custody, still trying to project dominance, as if being handcuffed was just another chance to prove something. What began as a fitness controversy had now evolved into something much darker.
Laws will be broken, I can assure you of that. No details will be spoken either. Somebody knows his way around some things, and I invite you to tune in.
If you thought the arrest would be the wake-up call, the rock-bottom moment where Liver King steps back and finally admits his mistakes, then you are absolutely wrong. The moment he was released, he went right back, posting more videos, more rants, more deflections. The jail incident didn't humble him at all. It just gave him new material.
If anybody knows where Seth Rogen's, the other version of him that rhymes with blow, if anyone knows where its family's going to be today, if you could let my team know so that we can stay within 200 yards, not close to them, to stay away from them.
The comments were flooded with people asking him to slow down, to get help, to take accountability, to stop escalating. But he ignored all of it.
Rogan versus Liver King. Yeah, I don't know if you might know who I am, you might not. It doesn't really matter the name, but it's Liver King. I'm picking a fight.
To him, the attention wasn't a warning. It was fuel. But then came this video which showed him kicking his own dog.
Cut it the fuck out. That's not okay. Sit.
You can survive steroid scandals. You can survive lying to fans. You can even survive being arrested. But hurting an animal? That's not acceptable.
One peptide. That's what I should have said. That would have been the truth, and I thought, let me not say that and get more criticism. So I'll say this other thing.
When you look at the full arc, it's easy to think the Liver King story has already reached its end. But here's the part people need to understand. This isn't the end of Liver King's downfall. It's just the latest chapter. Because nothing about his recent trajectory suggests any changes in his real personality. What do y'all think about this mess? Leave your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more.